Would you please make welcome former Flight Lieutenant Cyril Bircher, DFC. The man who saved Queen Mary. Come with me over here, Cyril. You can share the second microphone. So you want to come in close to me here? Yep. And that's your microphone there. So I'm going to set the scene a little bit. So taking you back to June the 12th, 1943. And you're in command of a Liberator bomber. You're part of 86 Squadron RAAF, attached to Coastal Command. And you're been out on one of your regular 16 to 18 hour missions, hunting U-boats and escorting convoys. You've got on board an American experimental homing torpedo, and you've been told that you're not allowed to use it unless the target submarine has already dived. The reason being it's a secret weapon and we don't want the other side to know anything about it. So having set the scene, you're flying on June the 12th, 1943, and you find a U-boat sitting on the surface. Can you take us through the story from there?
Well, we were searching for the Queen Mary when we came across this U-boat on the surface. Now, it's most unusual for the U-boat to stay on the surface. I'd attacked about 7 or 8 U-boats before that, and each one dived as soon as ever they saw a plane. But this one stayed on the surface. So I attacked the U-boat, but unfortunately we only had 2 depth charges instead of our usual 8, because we were carrying this secret weapon that the Americans had invented. So anyway, we attacked the submarine, and the 2 depth charges just slightly overshot the port side, but it shook the submarine up quite a bit. So we didn't know what to do then, so we attacked the submarine for a second time, and this time all we had was 1 machine gun in the front, and the submarine had 4 aileron machine guns on the conning tower and a vapor gun cannon on the front.
So when you couldn't get his attention, you're pulled away and blown to a rain squall to make him think that you're pulling out. What happened when you came through that rain squall?
Well, as soon as I flew through the rain squall, I intended to fly through it and turn back to find the submarine diving so that we could use our secret weapon. But when I went through the rain squall, I was absolutely amazed and astonished to find that I was right above the Queen Mary. It was right below us. So I immediately got them to send a message to the Queen Mary, U-boat on the surface, 6 miles dead ahead. And the Queen Mary did a very sharp right angle turn to starboard, and it was a glorious sight to see the Queen Mary at 36 knots doing this turn away from the submarine.
And how quickly did Queen Mary respond to your signal from the plane?
Well, it was so fast that the Queen Mary started to turn before we'd finished at the end of our message.
An amazing sight to see it turning away at that speed.
It was a great relief.
Yeah. And 5 years after the war, you're in Sydney, and I'm told that the captain of Queen Mary, who was on board that day, he's also settled in Sydney in 1951. So you ended up meeting Sir James Bissett. What did he say to you? What did you say to him?
Oh well, we had quite a yarn together about the attack on the Queen Mary, and Sir James kindly signed my logbook. Many thanks and good luck, Sir James Bissett, on my logbook where I had the attack on the U-boat.
Obviously Queen Mary was in danger. What was the threat? What was the nature of the threat? Was it really in trouble if it kept on going on the course that she was on?
Well, when we first saw them at Queen Mary, one of the things that I was concerned with was it was heading straight towards the U-boat, and the U-boat was only about 6 miles ahead. And by the speed of the Queen Mary and the speed of the U-boat, they would diverge very quickly.
Well, I'm going to have to sit down pretty soon, Cyril, but there's one aspect of this story which becomes even more incredible as the story is told. And that is that not so many years ago now, And let's remember that you had done 10 missions where you had encountered U-boats, submarines on the surface or about to dive. A few years ago you received a letter from Germany from the daughter of the German skipper of one of the submarines that had been sunk. What did that German lady say to you when she wrote to you?
Well, she started off by saying, "Hello, Mr. Bircher," not "Dear Mr. Bircher." And she said, "I don't know whether I should be writing to you or not, but I want to finish a chapter in my history." And then she went on to say that her father was the captain of U-boat 632, and the U-boat was sunk by a plane, and you, Cyril Bircher, was the captain of the plane that sunk my father's submarine.
And what does it mean to you now, Cyril, that you've actually now established your pen friends, that you and the daughter of the U-boat captain who almost certainly your plane had sunk in the North Atlantic are now pen friends?
Well, first of all, she said in one of her letters that her father and myself were born on the same day, which was rather strange. And another thing she said was that she had studied my history, and she was quite certain that I had a guardian angel, what she gave me. Now, when I was 6 or 7 years old, my grandmother told me that I had a guardian angel, what she gave me, and I'm sure with all the close shaves that I had, that they were both pretty right.
We should applaud that too. You will forever be known as the man who saved Queen Mary, and forever known, obviously, at Cunard Line as the man who saved Queen Mary. I think everyone's delighted to hear your first-hand account of it. So could you please make Cyril, thank Cyril for telling us his story in the way he has. But as you sit down, with Cyril's indulgence, he's allowed me to read the letter that he received from Inga in Germany. And I think the most powerful thing from that is the human touch, the human contact. But the eloquence of Cyril's reply is just as fantastic. So please thank Cyril, and we'll let Cyril sit down and enjoy the rest of his lunch. Thanks for being here, Cyril. This letter came to him April the 2nd, 2007, and it starts by saying, "Hello, Mr. Bircher. It is difficult for me to write this letter to you. I was able to find out through the archive and the internet your name and address. My name is Inga. My father was the submarine commander of U-632, which your plane sank on April the 6th, 1943 in the North Atlantic. My father had left home and shipped out on March the 15th from Brest. I was born a few days later, but never saw my father. He did receive the message from the German Admiralty that a baby without periscope was born. A baby girl. At least he knew that he had a daughter. Very, very difficult years followed for my mother as a young widow in Germany. Her parents had left after the war to Argentina, and my mother and me followed in 1948. I grew up there and stayed in Argentina until I got married. I was never able to find out much about my father. It was just too painful for my mother to talk about. She married when I was 8 years old. In 1981, I had found out more information about my father's carrier, and the National Archives in Washington, D.C. helped me with a great deal. Through the internet, I also did see your picture with your daughters and grandchildren. How fortunate you are to have made it. Coincidentally, you and my father were born the very same day, except he was 2 years older. This terrible war indeed destroyed too many lives. I would like to hear from you. By finding out about you and your plane, it does close this chapter. I hope you are well. Signed, Inga." And of course, Inga did hear from Cyril Bircher. And I'll just read Cyril's handwritten message back to her. "Dear Inga, I was very saddened to receive your letter of 2nd April advising that your father lost his life in submarine U-632 on the 6th of April 1943. Further, that you never had the opportunity to meet your father. He was a very brave man, and you must be proud of him and the sacrifice he gave to his country. War is a dreadful experience, and I cannot comprehend how people of different nationalities and religion have not been able to live together more peacefully than history has proved over the years. I'm fortunate that I survived the 3 years of flying with 86 Squadron RAAF, or R8 in this case. 75% of my flying training course did not survive the war. I am the only surviving member of my air crew of 8. War indeed destroyed too much and too many. Thank you for writing to me and providing all the details of your father's sacrifice, and I also convey my sympathy that the war prevented you from knowing such a brave war veteran. My health is very good, and I have 2 marvellous daughters, 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandsons. I thank you for writing to me and providing such valuable information. With sincere gratitude, Cyril Bircher. And to just round that off, I guess, those letters were only handed to me about 15 minutes ago, but I think they really sum up what we are on about here today. So Cyril, thank you very much.
It's a great honour to have you here with us. You're a marvellous man, and you showed great sympathy to that lady in Germany. And for me personally, it's a privilege to meet you, sir. I hope you've enjoyed your day. And as a young, sprightly 92-year-old, I hope you have many more years ahead. Thank you very much.
Have your attention again, please, folks. We have one last thing to do, and one last surprise to drop on you here this afternoon, because someone on board Queen Mary 2 in our little gathering today is having his 92nd birthday. Hooray! So could you please sing Happy Birthday to Max Heron?
Well done.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Who's Max?
Happy birthday to you, Max.
Nah.
Happy birthday to you. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! And there's the Cunard cake.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here.